What is up? It is your allies behind enemy lines back at it again. It is September. What's today? The
18th?
21st. The
Oh.
21st. Close.
I wish he was back
Samsonite.
in the past. I wish he was back.
Yeah, right. We wish we were back on Friday getting ready for week two. Ryan and Joey coming back at you, your allies behind enemy lines. A couple Washington football fans thoroughly in enemy territory out here in Cowboy territory. Joey, the air, not as crisper. Food, not as sweeter. Life, still okay though. Not as great as it was Friday. Not as great as it was 1 week ago from today. But you know what? Things aren't as bad as they could be.
Well, they're not as bad as they could be. And, even though we don't have that crisp, undefeated fresh air we had last week, that was basically what it was, that week one undefeated air. We still have that fresh first place air. So we do still have that fresh first place air. So it does still feel a little bit good. It's funny we say that, how we kicked off the show last week, you're making a reference to that, how it feels after you win a game like that. But maybe 10 minutes after the Cowboys comeback last night, I saw somebody on Twitter literally post like almost word for word outside with, the air is beautiful, the words are singing in a harmonic melody. And it was just like, and I was like, we totally know what that feeling was, and we don't have it right now.
We don't. It was funny. So I've mentioned before how I'm playing flag football, and so we had our first games on Saturday. One of my teammates is a Washington football team fan, and his wife's a Cowboys fan, and so we were just talking, running our mouths, just talking about how great it is to be in first place. And her, as well as some of our other teammates, were like, "You guys won one game, like it's week one." And I was like, "I don't care. We won week one. We don't know how many more weeks we're gonna get." I said, "When was the last time we were undefeated this late in the season?" And they all started laughing because you just gotta take the small victories. You gotta take small victories, enjoy the small stuff, stop and smell the flowers every now and then. But yeah, getting to week two against the Cardinals. Preseason preview, we thought this might be not a walkover, but a good game, a game that we thought we could take. Come Monday of last week, we were like, hey, Cardinals looked pretty good. They made a good 49ers team, look not as good as or crisp as we thought. Friday, even more so, but we didn't want to back off. We stood firm in our preseason picks and what we felt, coming off that victory that we thought Washington was going to be able to take the victory, but with the caveat of if we can contain Kyler, if our defense can, kind of limit DeAndre Hopkins, and we did neither of those things.
We did neither of those things at all. I mean, one of the things, it's almost, to put it bluntly, it's like we expected this, but we didn't expect this. Almost in a sense, if the defense played like they played against Philadelphia and got that type of pressure, we knew we were going to probably have a chance, but that did not happen. So we knew it was going to, once we saw that was not going to happen, we pretty much knew that what was going to happen, and which did happen, which was Kyler Murray just running around like, it looked like, when an 8th grader plays with like 2nd graders in football.
Yeah,
just kind of,
really. It's so crazy how small he looks out there. Like, Russell Wilson's a short guy. Baker Mayfield, not the tallest dude. But Kyler Murray just literally looks so much smaller than all of them. And I think it's his running style, too, because he takes those real short, choppy steps. So he almost looks like a toddler. Like when a toddler runs, I mean, you know exactly what that's like. You got 2 of them running around your house. They got those short, little choppy steps, and he runs kind of upright. So it like, no disrespect to Kyler. He's an amazing athlete. He, did some crazy things out here in Allen, not far from where I'm at right now. Mm-hmm. And, obviously in college, but it's so crazy how much smaller he does look than everybody out there.
He does.
Is that what you were referencing? Is that what you were referencing?
Definitely. And it's like,
okay, yeah.
It was like when, I mean, he was running around. It was like he was just running around him, and like it was like to put like a giant, like when a bunch of small, like in old cartoons, when a bunch of small things run around, like tie ropes around a giant. Just kind of, it's basically what he was doing around our whole defense, just running around them 3 times before they know he was even there. I mean, I don't know how many times he postered Troy Apke on those cuts right before he got into the end zone, but it was, just grasping at nothing. It wasn't like grasping at shoestrings. He was grasping at nothing. Mm-hmm. But he was amazing. Just, like you said, those small steps he takes, not to mention those hesitations where he kind of just goes up, and then you don't know when that foot hits where he's going to cut right or cut left, and he cut the way that we didn't cut every single time.
I know. It's almost like you just have to sell out and go to tackle where you think he's going to be, because you definitely can't tackle where he's at. because by the time you go for it, he's gone. He's gone in one of the other directions. So you just got to kind of
Hmm.
sell out and say, hey, all right, this is where I think he might be. If he makes that decision, awesome. If he doesn't, I'm probably going to look silly anyway. But yeah,
Exactly.
he had 8 rushes for 67 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground, added a touchdown in the air. Like I said, I mean, they threw the ball. I believe it was 34 times week 1. Threw the ball another 38 times. So obviously they're not just relying on his legs only. They still trust his arm. He completed 26 of those 38 passes for 286 yards. He did throw an interception. We were able to sack him 3 times, which we said if we could get about 3 or 4 sacks, we'd be happy with that. Unfortunately, we needed much more. We let him get by us way too much. But so as far as the defense goes, still solid up front. Chase Young, 2.5 sacks on the season. Added another 1.5 this week. So the front seven. John Bostic added another sack. I mean, that's great for our linebackers. Our middle linebackers still be picking up some sacks as well. But as far as the defense goes, wasn't solid. I think I got a reverse course on this Cardinals team. I think they're the real deal.
I mean, it's true. I mean, it is true. They have so many weapons on offense. I mean, and this is their scheme. Not to mention how prepared they were.
Yeah.
I mean, they definitely watched the tape of last week what we did to that Eagles offensive line. And at the very beginning of the game, Kyler Murray was whipping that ball out quick. I mean, it was 1-2 steps out, ball out, and then just like I think one of the commentators said, he's forcing those defensive linemen to try to make plays out there on chase these running backs all around the field. Not to mention they come back to the line and they're chasing Kyler Murray again. So they were tiring out our defensive line without getting any type of pressure to even to benefit. Usually you get pressures and you're tiring out, but you're at least tiring out the offensive line as well as you're doing it. But no, we're just tired out chasing around these plays that you're getting to the outside really quick and chasing around Kyler Murray. So I'm sure that played a big part in Kyler Murray being able to predict what our defense was going to do. And as you mentioned, he did have that interception, which was early on in their territory. And again, before we get to the offense, we just could do nothing with it. Our defense did give us some opportunities there early to kind of stay with them. We just could do nothing with the ball.
Yeah, I'm looking up time of possession right now. So yeah, they had the ball for more than half the game. They had the ball for 33 minutes, 45 seconds. So it was a little less than I thought it was. Because I was going to mention kind of like what you said, them chasing Kyler Murray around. That's going to wear out that defense and tire them out real quick. Luckily, we have a pretty good rotation of guys up front. But still, some of our other defensive positions, not as much. But yeah, I mean, tough game. Like you said, they schemed us up perfectly. They had us read. That offensive line was much better than I thought it was going to be. They gave Kyler much more time. And like you said, they did set up first, getting those quick passes out, and that worked to their strength, immensely. Hopping over to the offensive side of the ball for Washington, Dwayne Haskins, not a terrible game. We did turn the ball over twice. We had Steven Sims and Dwayne Haskins both fumble, and we lost both fumbles. 19 of 33, 223 yards and a touchdown. Still missing high a lot. Dwayne Haskins still missing high quite a bit, and Ron Rivera talked about that in his post-game press conference and said that he just needs to, kind of chill out a little bit, take a deep breath, and relax. And he does that in the second half. But in the first half, he just is too amped, too juiced, and is just getting the ball out too quick and sailing it over guys. And so we saw that happen quite a few times. Terry McLaurin still continuing to tear it up. Seven catches, 125 yards, adding another touchdown. So, he's obviously, I think he's as advertised, 100% the real deal, not an issue there. They did give Antonio Gibson a few more chances this week, 13 carries, 55 yards, and a touchdown. I know a lot of people went out and probably picked up Peyton Barber for their fantasy team. I was one of them. Luckily, I did not start him because they saw what he did last week. Only 1 carry for 1 rushing yard. JD McKissick, it's funny because he's got the turf tape and the number 41 jersey. Kind of looks like Alvin Kamara out there a little bit. It's kind of funny. Eight rushes for 53 yards, but the turnovers hurt us. We really couldn't get anything going early, much like last week. And unlike the Eagles, the Cardinals weren't going to let up this lead at all.
At all. I mean, we saw some signs there at the end that possibly we might be able to make a move, but it seemed like they were just kind of just milking us and toying with our defense. And then once they saw that we were trying to come back, they're like, oh, you want to do that again? Well, let's go ahead and start passing the ball, little quick passes again, and just march it down the field, which they did, and drain the rest of the clock on us. But our offensive side of the ball, as we said, those 2 turnovers, the Steven Sims fumble on the punt return, the Dwayne Haskins fumble on that sack. Both of them were deep in our own territory. Both of them produced points. Um, I mean, one of them was deep in their territory, which took away points. We would have got guaranteed points, and then the punt was deep in our territory, which gave them points. So there were huge turnovers in that regard. And before you knew it, you blinked twice, and we were up, I think it was 17-0 again,
Yeah.
and this team, even though we did show it last week, we are not built to come back. We need to control the ball, control the clock, play good defense, and keep it close, and then kind of make our move later in the game. We're not going to come out and dominate people with this type of offense right now. And I think that we did see some good positive points, like you said. We saw Terry McLaurin had a great game, shows that he is the real deal. Logan Thomas definitely went out there and showed that he is going to be a target and he is going to be utilized a lot in this offense. Dwayne Haskins showed that when he calmed down, he can get the ball into the hands. Antonio Gibson did show me a lot again. He got better than last week, and does show what he's going to have in that tank. And even J.D. McKissick on those few runs, like you did say, they were explosive runs, got us deep into their territory, set up our first field goal, I believe, and or only field goal, I should say. But yeah, it's. I think we're still missing another weapon on offense or two. Because
We have one more wide receiver. I think we'd like one more good, really good wide receiver. I think we'd be in a great position.
With great, and that's the word going around. I know there's a lot of talk with last week with unhappy Odell, Allen Robinson, but there's we got to do something to be able to help beef up that that receiving core. Some experience out there, someone that's got somebody explosive, someone that wants to come out there and make a mark, because we know Terry wants to do it. He gets the ball and does the most with it every single time he touches it. And I can see that in Gibson. We just need someone else like that on the offense to help out Dwayne Haskins. And that line, I don't know what we need to do with that left side of that offensive line, especially with an injury. I don't know if we've gotten any updates on our Brandon Scherf, but him going down with that knee injury. To tell the truth, was it Schweitzer or Wes Schweitzer or whatever? I cannot pronounce his name right. They came in to replace him. He did a good job. I didn't notice. Especially in the running game. I noticed, all those runs that I'm talking about with McKissick, those run plays came with him in the game and him getting out there putting blocks in the second level. So I was really impressed to see that, because I did keep my eye on that just to see how he was going to do. And so, who knows, when we get Sheriff back, we could toss that guy over on the left side, because that left side definitely needs some help. And I know we need to get that guy Sadiq up to speed, because we need something better at that left tackle position. I mean, it was just, again, that the fumble with Haskins was line breakdown. It's just things like that are going to cause us, opportunities from putting points on the board.
Yeah, no, I agree. Brendan Scherf only out a few weeks. They didn't say how many. They're thinking maybe 3 to 6 weeks at the most. Definitely not out for the year, so that's positive note there. But yeah, Sadiq Charles, 6th-round pick at LSU. We definitely need him to get up to speed. I mean, you figure if you play, he started at tackle, I believe, either 3 or 4 years at LSU. So you figure if you can do that, this guy, the transition to the NFL game shouldn't be too much harder, too difficult to do. But who am I to say, one way or the other? But I agree about the passing game, like you said. Logan Thomas obviously going to be a vital part of it. He saw 9 targets, caught 4 of them for 26 yards. Not as great of a game as we saw last week. I would like to see that running game, whoever it may be, beef up a little bit more. We're relying a lot on Dwayne Haskins right now. Second game in a row, he's thrown over 30, 35 passes. We've only rushed the ball. We only rushed the ball 23 times, technically only 22 with the running backs. I would like to see, like I said, I don't care who it is. Obviously, it looks like Gibson's that lead guy right now, so he's going to get the bulk. If we can give him 15 to 20 carries, I think that'd be perfect. Mixed in McKissick and Barber in there. Split 10 carries between the two of them. And I think if we can control the clock, control the ball a little bit more, obviously that has a lot to do with what you mentioned, that offensive line, for us to be able to, because if we're running the ball 20 times, but only gaining a yard or two per carry, not going to be, super efficient. But as of yesterday, Antonio Gibson on his 13 carries averaged 4.2 yards. J.D. McKissick on his 8 carries averaged 6.6 yards. So obviously we're getting some yardage. We're getting some good looks at guys. So I would like to see that evolve a little bit more with the run game. All preseason we heard, I say preseason, right before the season, we heard how all 3 of these running backs can be involved in the passing game and how they're all explosive. And that's why we really didn't care to carry 5 or 6 wide receivers. We didn't care to carry 6. We're carrying 5. But you look at the stat sheet, Antonio Gibson's the only running back that got a target. 2 targets, he got 1 ball and lost 3 yards. So I think we still need to implement that a little bit more. Terry McLaurin, like we said, obviously great. We're relying a lot on Steven Sims, still a young cat, obviously has some growing to do. But those wide receivers really need to step up, or we need to involve those running backs a little bit more. Put Antonio Gibson in the slot, and then have McKissick line up at running back. Do something, change it up just a little bit. Obviously, it's week 2, coming off a great win week 1. Slip up here. We can't get down to those big. We can't get down, big. We can't be going into every first or into every second half down 17-0. It's just not going to work out for us. I made the joke while we were down 17-0. I said, right where we want them, 17-0.
Right where we want them.
Yeah. Right there. But so, obviously back to the drawing board. We have the Browns this week. Fortunate enough for us, their secondary is very, very depleted right now. Unfortunately for us, they have two really good weapons in Odell and Jarvis Landry. Their running game right now is ridiculous. Probably the best tandem in football right now with Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. So that's gonna be the name of the game. We'll get into that on Friday. That's gonna be the name of the game is stopping the run and putting some pressure on Baker. But it's another toss-up game, I think, following this Cardinals game, and it would be great to be going into. I believe we have Baltimore week 4, going into Baltimore 2-1 versus 1-2, because things probably aren't going to be too great when we play Baltimore. I might say, but any closing thoughts on week 2?
Well, just to put out there, I mean, I'm sure coaches do this, but I mean, how we always look at other teams and how we plan against them and what we need to take away. I think we really need to look at our team as an offense and look at it as a defense and say, how would you plan against Dwayne Haskins? Because and it's simple because they're doing it. Is they're loading up the box and they're making you try to beat him and pressuring him and try to beat him up and beat him deep, which he's not going to be able to do if he can't get any time. And that's why you're not seeing this run game. You're not seeing a lot of the run production like you're talking about, because first of all, we're down. You're not going to be running the ball out when you're down. Second of all, when you're running on first and second, you're getting 1 yard, you're putting yourself behind the sticks. You're forcing yourself having to pass more often to try to get, to get ahead of the downs. So that's happening every time we have the ball. I don't know when we're getting these runs, the 8 yards on first down. It seems like it's very, later on in the series when we get these bigger runs. So until that changes, expect teams to plan the same way they have been. They're going to load up the box and they're going to pressure Haskins. Now, as an offense, how do you plan around knowing that? When you do it, you almost look at a team like the Cardinals, and what did they do effectively? You know what? They got the ball out of Kyler Murray's hands very quickly. Get that ball out of his hand, whether it's a quick screen pass. You could have like you said, line Antonio Gibson out there as a wide receiver, throws a wide receiver screen pass, something, anything. We used to do it tons with Chris Thompson back in the day. Anything like that to get the defense to think different, or before they commit and just go forward and rush the quarterback. So I think we really got to think about how teams are planning against us when we build in this offensive scheme this week. So that's my last take. We cannot go in there and do the same thing and expect a different result. We got to switch things up this week.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think the quick screen game would help us a ton, because, like you said, you laid it out perfectly. That was perfect. Like you said, 1 or 2 yards on first and second down. Defense forces you into passing situations. Then you become defendable because they know exactly what you're doing. So yeah, I think keeping them off balance with those screens, which they ran a lot of that in Carolina with Scott Turner. So I don't know why we're not doing more of that. They got Christian McCaffrey out in the flats. Whatever it may be. But yeah, I definitely agree. That was really, really well put and well said there. So we'll switch gears now. We'll put week 2 behind us. It's done and over. We're on to Cleveland. We're on to Cleveland. We'll take a quick look around our division 2 weeks in. First things first, we got to talk about the Cowboys game and how
the luckiest guys on this planet.
How the Falcons absolutely shit the bed, pee their pants, and let them come back from a 29-7 victory a 29-7 lead, and let the Cowboys capture victory there. It was funny because I was out on the baseball fields during this game, and I saw the score increasing 7-0, 14-0, whatever it was increasing. I saw it was at 29-7, and I was like, if there's any team that's going to blow this lead, it's going to be the Falcons. It's going to be the Falcons. And it has nothing. It has a little bit to do with the 28-3, lead against the Patriots in the Super Bowl, and they blow it. But whenever Dan Quinn gets out to these big leads, he just absolutely shuts down the offense and tries to run the ball over and over again. I will give him credit; they took a couple shots deep there at the end. Well, not at the end, but they're still taking a couple shots deep. But like he just abandons the game plan. It's like, all right, we're just going to bleed the clock, bleed the clock, and it bites him in the ass more times than it doesn't, because I think if going forward, the Falcons get out to big leads like this, you try to score 100 points, because obviously you can't trust your team with big leads.
Yeah, I mean, I like you. I was watching the red zone, so I was getting back and forth, and Dak Prescott fumbles. Oh, Falcons take it in. Whoa, Elliott fumbles. Oh, they take it in. Oh, their tight end fumbles, and they take it in. So it was 20-0, in the first quarter, and then a friend of ours, Patrick, is a big Cowboys fan that comes to the games with us. He texts me and says, I have not seen a worse first quarter in my entire life. I'm just kind of like, his comical just into a sense what was happening to them. But as you said, I always, I don't trust those Cowboys to go down easy as well. And I just kept my eye on that score, and it keep coming back a little bit. Then the Falcons would score again. So I'm like, all right, I think they got it. But when they missed those 2 points, when they went for 2 early on, which if they would have lost, everyone would be talking about that right now, all the weird decisions they made. I mean, they went for 2 fake punts, missed those, 4 turnovers. They went for it when you're down 15 and you score the first touchdown, you kick the extra point, and then you give yourself a chance to be down 1 score. They went for 2 the first time around, didn't get it. We're down. They're doing everything wrong. And they still found a way to not be the stupidest team on the field for some reason.
Sometimes you don't have to be the best team. You just have to be the least dumbest team.
Exactly. And they proved that they had at least 2 freaking brain cells to rub together versus the 1 brain cell that was lost in the darkness over there in the Falcons team, as they all stood there and watched it spin around. What they call that watermelon kick is what they're calling it now.
Yep.
The watermelon kick, which I know I tried to hear Dan Quinn, defend them a little bit, saying, "Oh, well, those guys are used to getting blocked. They're used to getting attacked during this, so they're not used to." I was like, "No, any kid as young as I watched football know the rules of onside kicks.
Mm-hmm.
If you've watched football or been a part of football, the defense can't touch the ball within 10 yards, but you can touch the ball the second it comes off the other guy's foot. How many times it's I could not believe they had that many guys in that close range that not one of them thought to throw themselves on the ball. It's like, geez, I do not want to go to war with these guys. A grenade falls right there. They're going to let us all get blown up. No one's going to throw themselves on the grenade for me. They're just going to watch that sucker roll right between my freaking legs. So I don't know. Those Falcons, I was shocked. I thought the game was over. I was already on watching my Washington team when the other TV I had on the other room that had red zone going on. I heard like the Cowboys going crazy. And I was like, what the heck happened? I went over there and they kicked a field goal to win. So I had to watch that a lot in reverse. But so I rewound it and watched it again. But oh my goodness, I'd hate to, we might be upset about losing yesterday, but I'd hate to be a Falcons fan right now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you. I'd rather get blown out than have a big lead and then lose it. Yeah, but you're right about that watermelon kick. I mean, when Dan Quinn says, "Oh yeah, they know the rules, they know blah blah," it's like those guys are used to being blocked. What do you call the team that recovers on onside kick? What are they? The hands team, right? So they're going out there to catch the ball and make sure that the other team doesn't receive the onside kick. But there was literally, I forget who it was. It was number 17. I don't know what his name was. He was literally like watching the ball and stepping back, almost like when a ball's rolling out of bounds in the NBA. When you're backing up and just let that ball go out of bounds. That's what he was doing. And then when it got to 10 yards, he went to go try to jump on it. It was so wild, so crazy. I don't know what those guys were thinking. They obviously weren't. But yeah, crazy. Like I said, hats off to the Cowboys, for not giving up. Dak bringing them back. 450 yards passing. What was it? 4 touchdowns. But I don't know if they were the best team yesterday, but they were definitely the least dumbest, the least dumbest team.
Yeah, so that sometimes I guess is a thing now. We're gonna have to watch out for that.
yeah. Maybe we'll pick a least dumbest team of the week, whether you shouldn't have won because you won not because you're the best team, but because you're the least dumbest.
There we go. Least dumb win of the week. There we go.
Yeah,
you heard it here first, guys.
Yep, great stuff. So we'll jump over to the Giants, who unfortunately they lose Saquon Barkley for the year. He tears his ACL. They really didn't have a whole lot going on for them. As it was throughout, the week 1 or whatever it was. So it's going to be even tougher sledding for them moving forward because they don't have their best player and they don't have what the guy that most of their offense went through. And Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley is obviously a guy that they can rely on to take the pressure off Daniel Jones, but now it's going to be laid squarely on him. And Dion Lewis, I guess, is their backup. I had no idea he was even still in the league. Tough sledding for them.
I think that early rumors have it that they're taking a look at Devontae Freeman. So that's
I did see that. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, good point. But who knows? I mean, you sign a guy, today. Who knows when he's ready to go? Who knows how in shape he is? If he's been staying in shape. But Devontae Freeman. You're right. I did read that as well. So you probably expect now. Let me ask you this. I mean, you got to assume the Giants are going to be in play for that top pick now after losing Saquon. I can only assume. I mean, that defense isn't anything to sneeze at. Their best wide receiver right now is Darius Slayton. If they get the number 1 pick, do they take Trevor Lawrence? If they get the number 2 pick, do they take Justin Fields, or do they keep rolling out Daniel Jones out there?
I think they believe in Daniel Jones. I know I would personally, just from what I've seen in Daniel Jones, I think there's a lot there that he's proved he can do with nothing. Just like you said before, he has little or nothing. And last year he had, he lost Barkley for a lot of weeks too. I was impressed with his way to move the ball around last year and make plays with his feet. And not to mention yesterday, they almost came back and tied that up there late. They did have a 2-minute drill that he, ran down there, had some clock mismanagement. And again, I think he was the only person on the field that wanted to make a play. So I would probably, again, you're going to have the best draft capital in the world. I mean, I mean, you're going to have that first pick if they are in play for it, which it looks like they might be. Barring the Jets, I don't know. I think the Jets might be the ones that are looking. But it might be a New York team anyway that's going to be getting that first round pick. But again, you're going to go out there. You're going to have every free agent, that's coming up on a first year deal, offering their star player for that pick that needs a quarterback. So I mean, they're going to be a good place to be able to get a lot of weapons around him if they do. I don't see them going away from Daniel Jones and getting anybody else.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's a good point. I just wanted to offer the question because it looks like that it's probably going to be a long year, like you said, in New York for both teams. But I just want to pose that question. So things aren't going to get any better out there in New York anytime soon. Now things can't get much worse out in Philly. Another poor performance. They lose yesterday. What was the final score on their game? I'm looking for it here. Why?
27 to
37-19. 37-19 to the Eagles.
37-19, yeah.
Just not a great performance right now. I saw a little, I'm sure it's been going around Twitter. Everyone's kind of seen it. It's like a diagram. And right now, Carson Wentz is statistically the worst quarterback in the NFL based on a couple different things. Expected completion percentage, meaning balls he throws that you expect to be completed and whether they're not. And various advanced analytics, things like that. So, the nerds have taken over football a little bit, and all these analytics have come into play. So where they say he's the worst quarterback in the NFL right now statistically. I don't believe that to be true. Obviously, it's tough week 1 when you're getting sacked 8 times and when you're on your back as many times as he was. You're not going to be completing a whole lot of passes or expected to complete a whole lot of passes. And I think the Rams are good. I think the Rams are back to where we expected them to be last year. That they weren't, but obviously the Super Bowl year. I'm not saying they're going to make it to the Super Bowl, but I definitely think they're better than they were last year. But bleak times right now in Philadelphia, especially after getting Miles Sanders back, and then he coughs up a ball early in this game too.
Yep, they don't have a lot. They don't have a lot going on for them there. I know they had a. I think when the Cowboys took CeeDee Lamb, a lot of their plans went down the drain. They thought that they had their pick there, and then they went and got Jalen Reagor. And he didn't. He's got the speed, but he's not shown to be another piece that really can add to the weapons of that. To aid Carson Wentz again. He's one of those players that needs to have some support around him. I don't know. I didn't see. I saw parts of the game, so I don't know how his tight ends were doing there. But usually that's a good safety route for him, and it looks like that wasn't there as well. And his line, again, he's behind a decimated line, no running game. You're talking about, a very long season for Carson Wentz unless something changes. And we all know he's always just 1 or 2 hits away from being, out. And then and then couple that with this, what's going around Twitter, and then young upstart named Jalen Hurts. When do we start hearing that canary? When are we going to start hearing the Philly fans calling for, we wasted a 2nd round pick on him. Let's at least see what we got in him while the season is going to crap. So, I expect maybe halfway down the season, if things don't improve for them, we will see him sooner than later.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna beg the question and see what it is. I mean, he wasn't sacked at all yesterday. I was looking here. I thought for sure Aaron Donald and company would be able to have their way with that offensive line, but that wasn't the case. They did hit him 3 times, but that was it. So that's kind of shocking there. That wasn't really an issue. Was him being hurried or being hit a whole lot. Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert, they combined for 9 catches of his 26 completions, and 42 and 30, that's 72 yards of his 242 passing yards, but no touchdowns for his wide receivers. 0 touchdowns for his wide receivers. Miles Sanders had the lone touchdown on the day for Philadelphia. Carson Wentz had a rushing touchdown as well. So 2 rushing touchdowns there. Yeah, just can't get anything done offensively, like you said. But yeah, it's kind of funny. I had heard a few things this week where it's like, one thing, let me pause, that the piped-in crowd noise was booing Carson Wentz. And so leave it to Philly, where only your artificial crowd noise, where you control it, is booing your hometown team. That's hilarious and right on brand. But also on brand is that, yeah, Philadelphia finally got their Super Bowl, but it wasn't with this guy. So they don't have any really allegiance or tie to him. Yeah, he had them playing well that Super Bowl year to get him in good position, and Nick Foles kind of came in and finished it out. But if you're a Philly fan, like, you really don't have any tie to Carson Wentz of, oh, we got to keep him around. Had he won that Super Bowl, then yeah, he's got a much longer leash. But kind of like what you said, if he continues to play poorly and they continue to lose, I know he's only 3 or 4 years in the league, but see what you got. See what you got with Jalen Hurts. Especially if the season's a wrap. You get to week 7, week 8, week 9, and it looks like things aren't going well. Throw him out there. See what you got. They desperately need some wide receivers. They desperately need some help on that offensive line. Defense isn't as bad as I thought it was going into week 1, but they definitely need some help on the offensive side of the ball. And until they get it, I don't see things getting too much better for them anytime soon. Again, like I said, things aren't getting any better anytime soon out there. They can't get much worse in Philadelphia from what you expect from a team 3 or 4 years removed from the Super Bowl. But it's going to be interesting to see.
So basically, what you're saying then, or we're saying, I should say, is that it's a 2-team race to the NFC East title this year. It's us against the Cowboys.
It could be. It very well could be. Now, I don't want to.
Or they're running uncontested.
Shoot, man, if the Cowboys play a couple more games like they did that first quarter, then, there's no telling what's going to happen. As a whole, I don't know how strong the NFC East is. And it's kind of funny because we're going against probably one of the toughest divisions in the NFL this season in the AFC North. And so it'll be interesting to see just where we lie amongst these playoff teams. If our division winner is the 4th seed, if we even are able to get a wild card. I don't see that happening just because there's so many other good teams in the NFC.
Even though they're adding an extra one this year, even though there's 3, that doesn't
even though they're adding in the extra one. No, absolutely. I still think that there's so many good teams. You look at the Seahawks and the Cardinals out of one division. Who knows what happens in San Francisco in there?
Tampa Bay, New Orleans, Green Bay, Detroit. There's so many good teams out there.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm out on Detroit. I think Detroit and Minnesota stink again. I thought the Lions were going to be something. I don't know if they are.
Or the Bears. I guess replace that with the Bears. They're 2.
Yeah. Quite a few good teams out there in the NFC. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. That's why I want to kind of because there's just so much uncertainty right now. It's week 2. I get it. It's week 2. But just how teams have looked week 1 and week 2, Eagles and Giants haven't looked good at all. Washington looked good for a half. Didn't look too good this week, and the Cowboys looked good for a half as well, that second half. You know what I mean? So it's going to be crazy. It's going to be a wild ride, and I'm ready for it, man.
Well, yeah, I'm ready for it as well. And, it just seems like, it's we start the year looking at the entire NFL like, oh, how good are we versus the rest of these teams? And very quickly we can tell how good our team is, and we just start focusing on our division. And we're like, all right, are we better than these guys? Yeah, probably. Are we better than these guys? Yeah, probably. I don't know about these guys, though. So that's each week. It's going to go back to what it is. As a Washington fan, you know this. We'll be watching the Eagles game, hoping they lose. Watching the Giants game, hoping they lose. Watching the Cowboys game, hoping they lose. And then hoping we win. And if we don't win, it's like, at least we all lost.
Yeah. Yep, I know. When the Cowboys were down early and everybody else was down, obviously we played the 3 o'clock game, so we were going to know the situation. I was thinking to myself, hey, even if we lose, we're still in first place because everyone's going to be 0-2. We're going to be 1-1, and obviously that didn't play out, but we're still first place technically because we have a division win. So
Yep,
shout out to us.
Shout out to us. We'll keep it riding all the way to the
Absolutely, 100%. Last thing before we finish up, real quick, I wanted to bring up how I am absolutely destroying you in fantasy.
Oh, both times, right? Both times. We played 2 weeks in a row, and I had yesterday I had Kirk Cousins. So, I mean, anyone who had Kirk Cousins yesterday knows how his day went out. He had negative points in most leagues. It depends on what is your pointing system. But it didn't matter because I had Drew Lock on the bench. If I would have played him, it was either -2 or -4, I think, for my quarterbacks. So I was done. But you barely squeaked by last week, though. So we'll see. We still have some more games.
Yeah, barely. I think I won by like one and a fraction of a point. But yeah, I was thinking about it. I think because we're actually in 3 leagues together. I know that sounds crazy, but we are. It's kind of happened that we're in a family league. We're in this other league that we've been in for a long time, and then we kind of got thrown into one late last year. But going back, I'm pretty sure I have a positive winning percentage against you.
Oh, no. I don't think so. I think the one CBS league that gave us the preview last week, it had our series all-time series record, and I was beating you by 1. So now we're tied in that league, and I think it's about half and half. I know I've gone a lot farther than you in the other leagues. I think that league, you usually owe me in that league, but the other 2 leagues I always feel like I'm going farther than you are.
It doesn't matter. We're talking head to head. We're not talking NFL. We're talking, am I better than this guy?
Oh, man. All I can say is I have a Super Bowl championship in one of the leagues we've been in. You
do. Yeah, hats off. Tip my hat to you. Yep, you're right.
But you're right. Lately, you've had my number. That's definitely true.
Father time might be catching up. That's all I'm going to say.
I'm getting old. My analytics aren't what they used to be. I'm starting to pick players from 2 years ago. I don't know.
Getting old, playa.
Getting old, playboy.
Right. Awesome. Well, that'll do it for this week, unless you got anything to finish up with, Joe.
That is it, man. We get ready. Let's get out of this week and let's get on to the next week, man.
Absolutely. We'll be back Friday with our Browns preview. Remember, as always, like, rate, subscribe, review on Apple Podcasts. Obviously, if you're watching right here on YouTube, hit subscribe, ring the bell, throw some stuff in the comments that you want us to talk about. We'll check it out and see if we can get to it. Tell your friends, tell your family. We're getting a lot of positive reviews from like I said last week, from people that I wasn't even expecting to watch. A lot of positive feedback, and that's always good. That always makes us want to continue doing this and keeping it up. So we appreciate the love. We'll see you guys Friday. Again, week 2's behind us. We're on to Cleveland. We're on to Cleveland. We'll see y'all on Friday.